Good morning everyone, how all of you are, because I am really good, because even if you haven't asked, I'll tell you why I'm very good. This is the second class and I'm so excited regarding the first class. The first class has done well and I'm sure we will continue to do well. From the perspective of this examination, it is of utmost importance that you remain connected with the Rajasthan current affairs and also the current affairs of international and national importance. Right now, if we see the pattern of Rajasthan, it is trying to complement that of UPSC. So it is becoming important day by day that you remain abreast with the current affairs. So I'm here with the classes on a daily basis to help you do that. Current affairs is something that you should be doing every day. You shouldn't be depending on any monthly magazine or any weekly magazine or yearly magazine. I'll tell you why. Because if you do not do or read current affairs or give the classes a chance on a daily basis for current affairs, you will start forgetting current affairs. Eventually, when you will read it from any book, any editorial or anything else, you will not be able to remember it. Hence, it is important that you give this class a shot once, watch these classes on a daily basis, later on just revise it from any current affairs magazine. It's better that you choose Utkarsh because of course we are giving you the best content here. So without any delay, now we will start with the current affairs. I would like all of you to give me some sort of things in the comment segment so that I can talk to you, I can interact with you. Thereafter we will keep on moving. Alright, so let's start with the current affairs for today. There are many things to be known. Today we will first of all talk about Swami Vivekananda Academic Excellence Scholarship. What is this? Recently the state government has renamed the Rajiv Gandhi Academic Excellence Scholarship as Swami Vivekananda Scholarship, Excellence Scholarship. What is this scholarship? You must know this as well. In this particular scholarship, there is a reservation of 500 seats, of course, for 500 students. Out of these 500 seats, there are two categories. That is, if you ever want to use this scholarship, 300 seats are reserved for those students who want to apply for foreign universities. Remember, through this scheme, if anybody wants to apply for foreign universities, they can do it, and 300 seats are reserved for that. And the remaining 200 seats are reserved for those students who want to apply in the domestic universities or Indian universities. So remember this, because it could be asked in your prelims examination as well as mains if you have to do the categorization. Under this Swami Vivekananda Excellence Scholarship Scheme, the government will provide you 500 scholarships. That means 500 seats are reserved. Out of these, 300 seats are for those students who want to apply for scholarship in foreign universities. 200 are for those who want to apply for the scholarship in domestic universities. And this is according to the Rajasthan state government's plan. And it has been, which scheme has been renamed as Swami Vivekananda Excellence Scholarship Scheme? You have to remember that as well because it could be asked. So it is Rajiv Gandhi Academic Excellence Scholarship, which has been renamed as Swami Vivekananda Excellence Scholarship. Alright, I hope you are able to understand this. Alright, let's move forward and talk about, I have already given you the main points that 500 seats are there. Out of these, there is a categorization of two different categories, 300 for foreign universities, 200 for domestic universities. I have put it there. Alright, now you have to tell me in the comment segment. Thank you so much everybody for joining. Hello Rishikesh, how are you doing? Now let me ask a question from Rajasthan PCS prelims question, which is a previous year question. You have to answer it correctly in the comment segment. Alright, under the Rajasthan government's post-matric scholarship scheme for minority community students, financial assistance is provided to students having a certain combination of parents' income, and that would be previous examination marks, and that's a defined coincidence. Okay, if I'm going to give you a definite coincidence, what would the correct answer be? Under the Rajasthan government's post matric scholarship scheme for minority community students, financial assistance is provided to students having a certain combination of parents' income and previous examination marks. That's a definite coincidence. Good morning, Sakshi. How are you doing? Now tell me the correct answer to this, because this is a previous question of 2018. These kind of questions are asked. State pieces, specifically if I talk about Rajasthan state pieces, it is highly dependent on what? It is highly dependent on data. So you must remember the data. That is why I gave you the categorization in the Swami Vivekananda scheme, that it will be comprising of 500 seats, out of which 300 will be reserved for foreign university, 200 will be reserved for the domestic universities. Alright, so the correct answer to this, if anybody wants to participate, you're most welcome to do it. The correct answer to this, if you do not know, I will tell you. The correct answer will be less than 2 lakh rupees. If anybody's parental income is this much, for Rajasthan government post metric scholarship, they can apply. Parental income, that means the income that one gets from both the parents. Alright, first is less than 2 lakh rupees, and the last year's marks, that is students having a certain combination of parents' income, that is less than 2 lakh rupees, and previous examination marks would be what? At least 50%. So I hope that you were able to understand how data is given in your state pieces examination. Now let's solve the next question together. I hope all of you who are watching, please do comment in the comment section so that we can be interactive in nature. I love talking to the students through my interactive comment segment. So make sure that you answer this question. What is the name, or what has the name of Rajiv Gandhi Academic Excellence Scholarship Scheme been changed to? Swami Vivekananda Academic Excellence Scholarship Scheme, Dayanand Saraswati Academic Excellence Scholarship Scheme, then we have Indira Gandhi Academic Excellence Scholarship Scheme, and Atal Academic Excellence Scholarship Scheme. Sakshi has answered it correctly. I want other students as well to answer it correctly. Very good, Sakshi. Even Prerna has answered it correctly. Very good, Prerna. Anybody else who wants to answer it? Prerna and Sakshi, they both have answered it very correctly. The correct answer to this will be Swami Vivekananda Academic Excellence Scholarship Scheme. Alright, so now let's move forward towards the next news. Now we will talk about Bhatkada Community. What is this community? Actually, this community gets its name from the handicraft it practices. It makes design through block printing, and Bhat actually means, remember, BHAT, it means block design. So this is a community which settled approximately 300 years ago in Rajasthan, and by the usage of block designs, it used to do its handicraft. But recently it has met certain challenges regarding the handicraft. We are going to talk about that. So Bhat actually means block design, and Bhatkara Community of Rajasthan gets its name from the handicraft it develops. Bhatkara Community is basically a handicraft related community, and it gets its name from Bhat, which means what? Block design. They actually have come and settled to Rajasthan 300 years ago. It's a community from Rajasthan settled approximately, remember, 300 years ago. And what does it do? It does block printing and wood printing. It does block printing on textiles, on jewelry. Okay, remember jewelry is also included. It also does wood printing, and basically they have settled from where? They have come from Pakistan. Remember this. They have come from Pakistan, and earlier they used to be from the Lohar community. They used to be from the Lohar community, but later on when they settled in India, specifically in Rajasthan, they started doing block printing. That is why now they are known as Bhatkada Community. Alright, let's move forward and talk about these very beautiful printings that they have done. See, they do more printing, more booty, which it is known as. They do bale, that is seamless printing, very beautiful, and mango boota as well. This is shaped like a mango and printing designs have been made on it, and it's really beautiful. But the problems remain with respect to Bhatkada community. Remember that they originally belonged to the community of Multan, and they settled in many areas of Rajasthan such as Sanganer, Jaipur, and who helped them to settle? Sufi Guru, their Sufi Guru, who goes by the name Hazrat Alauddin Hasan Rahmatullah. They all settled in Rajasthan approximately 300 years ago in the 17th century. You have to remember the name of the Sufi Guru because names are very specific in Rajasthan PCS. Make sure you remember the names. Alright, let's move forward. Let's talk about the kind of printing they do. These kind of block printings are very well known, specifically in Sanganer and Bagru. And the current person who is a very good representative of block printing, who is very renowned in nature for block printing, specifically from the Bhatkada community, is Mashkoor Ahmad Multani. You have to remember who is Mashkoor Ahmad Multani, because this could be asked in your state PCS RAS examination about him. Mashkoor Ahmad Multani belongs to which community? Or Mashkoor Ahmad Multani is famous for which kind of handicraft? So you have to remember it is Bhatkada, and you have to remember that he does block printing and wood printing. Okay, I have already told you what Bhat means. Let's move forward. There are many challenges that are being faced by the current Bhatkada community. Because first of all, if we have to know about the handicraft system, handicrafts are extremely hard to preserve right now. We have cheaper technology, we have those kind of technologies which replaces labor, and this takes this is a lot of labor intensive handicraft process. So we have to understand we are getting better technologies, we are getting products which are more affordable to us. That is why we are relying on those technologies, on those kind of affordable commodities, and not certain handicrafts which are actually helping the families to sustain their livelihood. So that is why Bhatkada community again has become a very big victim of the industrial revolution, as we can say it. So if we talk about the challenges, the introduction of screen printing has made it impossible for the Bhatkada community to do block printing or Multani printing on a sustainable basis, because screen printing is giving us better and cheaper affordable objects to buy. But if we talk about the Bhatkada community, they take it as their livelihood. This is a very labor intensive model. Okay, so we are getting cheaper synthetic fabric with screen printing. This is becoming an affordable option. Other point is that they are unable to, Bhatkada community, if we remember, is unable to keep up with the current situation, keep up with the cheaper technologies. Many Bhatkada community people have also taken to screen printing. They have started screen printing instead of doing their natural work of handicraft which they were doing. So they have done it cheaper, affordables. Another thing is that this particular handicraft, it is a very labor intensive and time taking process. It's a labor intensive and time taking process, but at the same time it is not very remunerative in nature. It is not very remunerative. Remunerative means the kind of salary or the kind of fees that the Bhatkada community should get in return of these handicraft is very less. It is not very remunerative in nature. This is another problem. So if I am going to put a lot of effort in making any handicraft, but I am not getting a good amount in return, any young person would get very upset and they would stop being a part of that particular process. They will think that I might not be getting a lot of money here. I will be getting a lot of money in some other occupation. Or if I resort to screen printing, then also I can get better money. So this is the problem. It's not very remunerative in nature. So this particular art is dying. So the government has to do something. The government should do something in order to keep this particular handicraft alive. The government can give certain incentives. Government from its end can give certain incentives and subsidy to the Bhatkada community so that they can continue with the art and handicraft to the community, such as the folk artist promotion scheme. This can be run so that they find that the government is at least supporting them in getting on with their handicraft process. If they will find incentives and subsidies, they will resort and preserve their handicrafts. Other than this, the handicraft will eventually die. More and more youth will go where? To other occupations. And this very beautiful kind of block design, which is being made at a very quality and affordable price, it will be very, it will be extremely low hoped, and not a lot of people will continue with the handicraft process. So it is the government's incentive that will help them keep afloat. Another thing is that maybe geographical indication can help. Geographical indication tag can help the community to stay motivated so that they can sell these or export these handicraft to other countries as well. Another thing is that people should be aware, awareness should be generated awareness should be definitely generated on the beauty of these handicrafts. So these are the things that we can do from our perspective so that this art doesn't die. Okay. Other thing is that RAS can definitely ask you, if you ever become a policy maker for keeping the handicrafts and culture and diversity of Rajasthan alive, they can ask you what the government should do from its end that the handicrafts don't die. So you have to remember these are the various options that you can give as a policy maker to the government. Moving on, now let's talk about the different kinds of printing and handicrafts that are very popular in Rajasthan. Let's talk about them. So the main center for Ajrak print, this is a very beautiful print. As you can see, a lot of blue has been used. The Ajrak print, the main center here is Barmer. Another important question that could be asked from here is a match the following question. So the painting's name would be given and the major hub would be given, and you have to make sure that you are matching them correctly. So main center is Barmer. It is mainly a painting that uses a lot of blue color. So remember, the Ajrak print uses a lot of blue color. Other thing is that it has geometric ornamentation. That means the beauty of the entire painting rests upon the usage of geometric patterns. Geometric patterns means a triangle, a rectangle, a circle. These kind of patterns are mostly used in this particular printing, and this has been influenced by Turkish style. We know in Islam, the culture of Islam promotes a lot of geometric printing. That is why from this perspective it has been influenced by Turkish style. Next print is very important Another one is Malir print. The main center again here is Barmer, and here the most colors, mostly we see the colors that are used over here are brown and black. Okay, so you have to remember, sometimes questions with respect to colors can also be asked, that Ajrak print uses a lot of red color. No, it uses a lot of blue color. Now Malir print uses a lot of black and brown color. Other one is Sanganeri print. Sanganeri print. In Sanganer also we have the block design print, the Bhatkada community, which is settled in the Sanganer region of Rajasthan. Sanganer is also famous for other sort of prints such as Jal and Boota, Jal Boota, Bell print, we have Booty print. So these kind of prints are in Sanganer. Main center is Jaipur. Different types of very fine, gentle, charming and rhythmic vines and plants are used for elegant decoration. We see in the Rajasthani paintings, in the Rajasthani prints, a lot of heft is given to floral patterns and vegetative patterns, and that is why we can say that Rajasthan respects the fauna and flora of there a lot. Other thing is that black and red colors are mostly used in this print. Famous artist is Munna Lal Goyal. Alright, moving on to the next one. Bagru print, let's see, main center Bagru is Jaipur. Here natural colors are used, not synthetic colors. So if ever it is asked when it comes to the Bagru print, you have to remember synthetic colors are less used, natural colors are mostly used. And it is mainly made of Syah Bagar, that is black and red. So you see, this is a beautiful print from Rajasthan. In this, flowers, birds, animals, many types of patterns are also used, and the background is earthly. It is related to earth. So if it is ever asked in your RAS examination, how does the printing handicraft of Rajasthan pays reverence or shows respect to earth, to the mother earth? You can remember the Bagru print. Bagru print has given us a lot of insight into the flora and fauna, because here flowers, birds, earthly patterns are used. Also natural colors are used. That means that this print specifically reveres and worship whom? The nature. Alright, let's move on and talk about the other one, that is Azam print, Dabu print. Main center here is Akola, Chittorgarh, and here dyeing procedure is used. Dyeing as well as printing. The place where color is not to be applied is pressed with lye or pulp, so that it becomes a very beautiful pattern of color and non-color areas. Other thing is that the lye or pulp is a substance that is called dabu. That is why it is also known as the dabu print. Alright. Other thing we have to know, it is dabu of wax. It is used in Savai Madhopur, of clay in Baltora, and of wheat germ in Sanganer and Bagru. That means whenever any area has to be pulped away, it is done with different sorts of materials. For Savai Madhopur, we use dabu in form of wax. For Balotra, we use clay, and for Sanganer and Bagru, we use wheat germ. Another thing here, dabu can be asked, what is dabu? So you have to remember what is dabu as well. Alright, let's move forward and talk about the Jajam print. Main center for Jajam print is Chittorgarh, and the clothes of women of Gadia Luhar community are made from this print. So if it is asked in your RAS examination, which print reflects on the garments of women, you have to remember it is the Jajam print. Moving on, let's talk about the question, practice question over here. The Bhatkada community belongs to what? You have to tell me in the comment segment. Make sure that you are answering the questions whichever I am asking, so that you can become really well versed with solving questions. Folk singing, Bhatkada community belongs to folk singing. Then we have sculpture art. Then we have block printing or puppetry. Tell me in the comment segment what the correct answer for this question would be. Be very quick with your answers, because this is a really easy question for you all. The Bhatkada community belongs, Sakshi has answered it correctly. Very good, Sakshi. Prerna has also answered it correctly. Anybody else who wants to answer it correctly, please do it in the comment segment. That would be great. Please do it in the comment segment, guys. That would be great. Only Prerna and Sakshi, they have answered it correctly. The correct answer to this, yes, it would be block printing. Alright, block printing is going to be the correct answer, because remember, Bhat comes from a word block design. Okay, block design. Other thing that I told you, that they settled in Rajasthan, specifically from Multan, Pakistan. They come from Pakistan, and earlier they belonged to the Lohar community. But since they started practicing block design handicrafts, they are known as Bhatkada Community. Alright, Incognito has also answered it. See, very good. Okay, let's move forward and look at the next one, that is Viacom Satyagraha. I hope you have read about Viacom Satyagraha, because Viacom Satyagraha is one of the most important social reform movements that was ever undertaken when it comes to the society, putting certain categories of people as untouchables and certain categories of people as highly revered. So this society had to change. Specifically, if a nation called India had to be born without any sort of social divisions. That is why Viacom Satyagraha is one of the most important satyagrahas ever. So the centennial festivities, that means 100-year completion festivities, was started by the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu and Kerala in 2024. The Viacom Satyagraha basically was an anti-Brahminical movement. Why do I say anti-Brahminical? Because it is said that the entire structure of the society was dictated by the Brahmins, and the Brahmins made it very clear that due to the occupation a person follows, the entire society is divided into that. The Brahmanas were the priestly class, the Kshatriyas were the warrior class, the Vaishyas were the trader class, and the Shudras, or the very low strata of the society, who were something that used to do something that was at the end of the table. So this categorization was highly divisive in nature. This ensured that some people that were categorized as Shudras or untouchables remained at the receiving end of everything, and because of that they were not at all able to uplift themselves. So this was entire recognition of the Brahminical structure. So the Viacom Satyagraha, basically when the princely state of Travancore, which had a very sophisticated and inflexible societal structure, it saw that one category, specifically of the Shudras, remained at the receiving end of everything. So this princely state of Travancore had certain characteristics, such as it was very feudalistic in nature. What is feudalistic? That means it has one king and multiple vassal states. What are vassal states? Those states which actually show loyalty to the one king, vassal states. And these vassal states, when they were showing loyalty to one particular king, that means whatever society the king says, accordingly the other vassals will follow. It was very feudalistic, it was very military oriented. Then it has, or it had, a very inflexible society structure. That means if anybody belonged to one particular caste, they cannot move up the caste ladder. Generally, it was supposed to be such that any person who could, if supposedly there is a family, the mother may be a trader, the father may be a priest, the child may be again a warrior. So according to the occupation, the caste was designated. But here in Travancore, what happens that if you are born in a particular caste, even if your occupation is different than the caste you belong to, you cannot change your caste. So this was Travancore, and because of this inflexible society structure, what happens that Shudras remained at the never uplifted front of the entire society structure, and this was the biggest problem. So what happens that there were certain untouchables, certain lower stratas, such as the Isvas and the Pulyas. What happens to Isvas and Pulyas? Because they belong to the lower strata of the society, they were not allowed to even enter the road or the premises of the temple, let alone being entered into the temple. That means it was said that even Ezvas and Pulayas, that they cannot come near the roads of the temple because their shadow doesn't have to fall on the temple. If the shadow falls on the temple, what will happen? The temple will become polluted. This is what Ezvas and Pulayas were used to. But what happens that T.K. Madhavan, who was also excessively impacted by Gandhiji's non-cooperation movement, impacted by M.K. Gandhi's non-cooperation movement, he started the Viacom Satyagraha. He started the Viacom Satyagraha. So remember that the Viacom Satyagraha was impacted or inspired by whom? It was inspired by the non-cooperation movement, the Viacom Satyagraha. Alright, and T.K. Madhavan, he wrote an editorial in Desh Abhimani, and from there started the Viacom Satyagraha. When T.K. Madhavan wrote an editorial in the Desh Abhimani, from there started what? The Viacom Satyagraha. It could be asked in your examination that from whom the Viacom Satyagraha emanated. It started from T.K. Madhavan, who was impacted and inspired by M.K. Gandhi's non-cooperation movement in 1920. Another very important fact over here is that during the 1923 INC session of the Kerala Provincial Congress Committee that happened in Kakinada, they adopted a resolution that we have to prioritize the fight against the untouchables. What was this fight? This fight actually pertained to the notion that certain categories are polluted because of their birth and not because of what they do. So this particular fight had to move on. First was the non-cooperation movement that gave impact to what? The Viacom Satyagraha. And thereafter we see that during the 1923 session of the Kerala Provincial Congress Community, a resolution was adopted. This resolution said that we are going to fight against this notion of untouchability. Moving on, there were others who took part in the Viacom Satyagraha apart from T.K. Madhavan. Apart from T.K. Madhavan, K.P. Kesava Menon, who was the former secretary of the Kerala Pradesh Congress Committee, along with K. Kelappan, who was a prominent Congress leader, also an educationist. He is known as Kerala Gandhi. So if it is ever asked who is known as Kerala Gandhi, you have to remember it is K. Kelappan who is known as Kerala Gandhi, because these kind of very important questions are seldom asked in your examination. Make sure you know who is known as Kerala Gandhi. It is K. Kelappan. I am repeating again, who is known as Kerala Gandhi, and T.R. Krishnaswamy Iyer. These were the people who took part in Viacom Satyagraha. So it all started because of certain factors. What are these factors? If I have to remember the factors, we have to remember the starting year as well. It all basically started, as you can see on this date, March 30th, 1924. I will tell you the timeline as well. What happens that Christian missionaries know that this Hindu society is divided into certain areas, certain segments. So the biggest cultural influence the Christians could do, the British could do to us, was to influence people into converting into their own religion, to show that their religion is superior. So the Christian missionaries show that it is going to be extremely helpful for those people who belong to the untouchable category if they convert into Christianity. So many people, in order to escape the entire Hindu societal structure, the Brahminical societal structure, they started converting into Christians, because conversion was something that they saw it is kind of an escape, and they did not want to be untouchables anymore. So they started converting into Christians. Remember, conversion of many lower strata people into Christianity. And when this happened, we knew that something was wrong. and this wrong started from the Brahmanical structure only. The other one was Maharaja Ayilyam Thirunal. He was the one to ensure and signed a resolution to help the untouchables in their fight against the society, He was also the one to give primary education. To the children of the untouchables, the so-called untouchables. That means for the untouchables, the so-called untouchables, education was something that was not at all needed according to the society. Why would they need to be educated? If they had to just do manual scavenging, if they have to broom the streets according to the society, they shouldn't be getting educated. But it was whom? It was Maharaja Ayilyam Thirunal who made sure that primary education is available to the so-called untouchables children as well. And when the children got their education, they started understanding that in order to uplift themselves, they need to study, they need education. And this was something that was a blow to the entire society. So on March 30th, 1924, the Viacom Satyagraha started. The Viacom Satyagraha started with people belonging from different castes. One was, three individuals actually was there, individuals were there. First was a Nair, who was Govinda Panikkar. He belonged to the Nair community. Then the second was an Ezva, okay, and you have to tell me in the comment segment the Pulaya one. What is the name of the Pulaya community person? Alright, they all adorned themselves with khadi and garlands, and they started their journey to enter the temples. This was very symbolic in nature, because they wanted to show that God loves them despite of them being belonging to the untouchable category. So they were arrested. Other three persons who were also a part of the Satyagraha, they entered the temple roads, the roads that are actually surrounding the temple. So they also got arrested. So this was something, at least it started a symbol, it started a movement that even if we belong to the untouchable community, we can enter the temples. Moving on, the final Satyagrahi, it basically went on for a lot more than we expected back then. We thought that only 2 to 3 months, in the time span of 2 to 3 months, the Viacom Satyagraha would die. But that didn't happen. It went for almost a year and a half, the Viacom Satyagraha. So the Satyagrahi basically was summoned back from Viacom on November 23rd, 1925. Before that, Gandhiji also went to Viacom. In 1925, Gandhiji went, remember, in 1925 Gandhiji went, he had consultations with W.H. Pitt. Even if we talk about the Maharani Regent, he gave a lot of earful to the Maharani Regent during Karakal campaign, and the Maharani Regent understood little bit that why was it so important for social unity to be there in order to get national independence. And then finally, with consultations between Gandhiji and W.H. Pitt, this Viacom Satyagraha was finally withdrawn on November 30th, 1925. So remember, with whose consultation the Viacom Satyagraha ended? The Viacom Satyagraha ended when the consultations happened between M.K. Gandhi and W.H. Pitt. So whenever W.H. Pitt comes into your mind, make sure that that you draw a line with the correct answer. So it's November 30th, 1925. Then we have the temple entry movement. Now in November 1936, the temple entry proclamation was signed by the Maharaja of Travancore, and the temple entry movement went for more than consecutively 600 days. They got a lot of pressure from the society to stop this movement. They got a lot of pressure from even the very important icons of the society. They had the entire boycott system against them. They were not given a lot of help in this entire particular protest that they were doing for entering the temple. So all these kind of 1936, you have to remember the temple entry in this particular time. Viacom Satyagraha is different. The temple entry movement, which had particularly the move and aim to enter the temple. Why one must enter the temple? To show that God loves them, and it is the society that is categorizing them, not God. That is why the temple entry movement is important. So Maharaja of Travancore made sure that he signs a resolution on this. 600 days with many natural disasters in place, with many societal pressures, they were able to sustain this movement, and this was something very important. Significance of the movement I have given you. Of course, first is the movement succeeded in giving unprecedented or never seen before, unprecedented social awareness about the importance of society as a whole. It gave birth to social unity, integrity. It gave boost to national movement. Why did it give boost to national movement? Because as long as the nation was divided on different lines, we could be ensured that the nation would never be independent. This is what the British used to do. They used to divide us, and then they used to pit each of these different categories against them. That is why Hindus against Muslims, they used to do it in this manner. The second one was the lower strata against the higher strata. So until and unless there is a social unity, a nation cannot be born. And that is why it gave birth to social unity, thereafter gave boost to national movement. Alright, so this was the significance. Now, this is a question that was asked in RAS mains for the year 2008. If you're interested, you can solve it in your own homes. You can write this answer. Explain the reasons for partition of Bengal in 1905. We of course knew that the partition of Bengal was being touted as something that was administratively needed. But of course, the British did not know that we knew it. It was basically done, remember, it was basically done in order to break the movement, break the national movement, as Bengal was the hub for instigating the people against the British. This you have to remember. Why? Because in Bengal, many important writers, they had started writing songs. They started opening universities. They started doing things that if any country has to be proud in itself, they must know about the culture. And Bengal used to ensure that people of Bengal and the rest of the India made sure that they know their culture. They take pride in their culture. The Bengalis started. When Bengal started this movement of taking pride, the British knew once this pride awakens in India, it will never die down. So that is why the Bengal area was divided. There could be divisions. The divisions was made amongst the Hindus and the Muslims, the Bengalis that were Muslims and the Bengalis that were Hindus. but they were united by the Bengali language. So language was a uniting feature, and the British knew it. The British knew that if I am going to divide it, of course they will be pitted against each other, and finally the national movement which started from Bengal, it will die down. So that is why the important part over here was to break the national movement. And it was said by the British that we are doing it for administrative purposes. If we divide Bengal into two different states, we will be able to ensure that administratively they are easier to rule. But that was not the case. Let's move on to the next question. If you have to practice this, make sure you practice this properly. Let's do it. Consider the following statements regarding Viacom Satyagraha. Periyar's wife Nagammai and sister Kannamal played an unparalleled contribution in the fight. During the 1920 session of the INC in Kakinada, the Kerala Provincial Congress Committee adopted a resolution to prioritize the fight against untouchability. The Viacom Satyagraha was officially withdrawn on November 30th, 1925 after consultations between Gandhi and W.H. Pitt. If you want to answer it correctly, please do it from your own end in the comment segment. Make sure you are answering so that I can take your names and make sure that you are answering correctly as well. Do it. Periyar's wife Nagammai and sister Kannamal, they played a very important role in the entire Viacom Satyagraha. So first is definitely correct. Now second is a tricky question, Sakshi. Second says that during the 1920 session, it was in 1920 actually, it was 1923 session. See, RAS can confuse you by making sure that you are confused in years. So in 1923, the INC adopted a resolution in Kakinada, and because of that, second statement becomes incorrect because here it should be 1923. The third statement says that the Viacom Satyagraha was officially withdrawn on November 30th, 1925. So yes, and the consultation was between Gandhiji and W.H. Pitt. So first is correct, second is incorrect, third is correct. We had to select the incorrect one, right? If we had to select the incorrect one, so this is something that you must avoid. You must not get confused between correct and incorrect. Alright, so incorrect we had to select. How many are incorrect? First is correct, third is correct, only second is incorrect. So only one only will be the correct answer over here. Let's move on and talk about the next one, which is G20 Employment Working Group meeting in Brasilia. So recently, as we know that now Brazil is the president of G20. Last year it was India who was the president of G20. And the G20 works with different sort of meetings for the entire year. That means it is not a single meeting. These are different meetings. And another meeting of G20 is the second employment working group that happened under the Brazilian presidency. It happened in Brazil. Now, why India is very important, we must know. India is a part of G20 Troika. What is the G20 Troika? The G20 Troika is a group of those countries which comprises of the previous president. For previous year we had India, who was the president of G20. Then we have the present president, which is Brazil for 2024. Can you tell me in the comment segment who is the president of G20 in the year 2025? Can you tell me in the comment segment? Make sure you tell it to me in the comment segment. Let me just give you a hint. It is a part of IPSA only. I will just tell you, it's South Africa for the year 2025. Okay, so 2025 South Africa is going to be the chair of G20, and these countries are a part of G20 Troika. Troika, as I told you, is a group of countries from the G20 which comprises of the previous president of G20, the present president of G20 and the future president of G20. So these three countries basically make the Troika, and the Troika is made from the purpose of policy continuation. That means if the G20 has to perform its policies in a continuous manner, whatever policy has been made by the previous president can be continued in the next presidency and thereafter in the next presidency. That is why Troika is made, for policy continuation. Remember, G20 Troika is made, objective remember, for policy of G20 to be continued. Alright, I hope you found it interesting, because you can get asked a question about which of the countries is a part of the G20 Troika. Alright, moving on to the next one. Let's talk about what has happened in this employment news. The main theme of the EWG meeting first was quality and decent labor. Quality employment, remember, because these can also be asked. First, you have to provide quality employment and decent labor. First was this particular theme. Second was just transition of labor in digital arena. That means right now a lot many jobs are being lost due to artificial intelligence. So we ensure here that the laborers who are right now looking for employment and they are employed, they should transition to the employment in digital arena which is justified in nature. That means if any skilled labor is being replaced by artificial intelligence, it shouldn't be in a manner that they lose their jobs. This is what we are trying to say. Third is gender equity. Gender equality. That means inclusive employment. Remember, inclusive employment. Nobody should be discriminated on the grounds of belonging to a specific gender so that they cannot be employed. Like in India, what happens? That if you're a woman, you may not have a chance equally as that of a man to be employed, because if you're married, oh my God, your employer may not want to pay your maternity leave, because maternity leaves are paid. They might not want to do that. Why would they want to do that? They would rather choose a boy, a guy. So that is why this gender inequality that happens shouldn't be happening. Why? Because of course, if we have to ensure the upliftment of women, we must ensure their participation in the economic area and not only the domestic household area. So that is why these were the three major themes. Let's move on and talk about the efforts that have been made by India. India has made a lot of efforts. A lot of efforts have been made when it comes to increasing female labor participation. Why do we need female labor participation? For many reasons. We need female labor participation in order to empower the women. First of all, that we must empower our women. This is the first thing. Second, to boost economy. Our economy should be boosted, and this will not happen until and unless women are a part of it. 3, to reduce the total fertility rate. What is TFR? Total fertility rate is basically an age of a woman, the age of women, where she is the most fertile to give birth. So if we are raising the age of marriage, if we are economically empowering the women, educating the women, they know the importance of keeping the children threshold minimum as much as possible in order to deliver quality education to the child. If you have 5 children, you may not be able to give them that quality education that you would be able to give to 2 children. So this is very important to understand from that perspective, that children, if they are kept to a minimum, they will be much more qualified to get employment in the future. Much quality children will be there. So this is done by making sure that women are in the labor force, and also to give boost to human rights. Human rights. Also, if women get if women participate in the labor force, they will then participate in the political arena as well. They will participate in the political arena as well. They will be uplifted from the societal perspective as well. The more you earn, the better your position becomes in the society. This is what, it is an unsaid rule of nature. So this society is very consumerist in nature, industrialist in nature. That is why it is important for women of India to continuously become a part of it. So India, in order to increase the female labor force participation, India has enacted the Code of Occupational Safety, Health, Working Conditions, and that is the Code of 2020. It is already working in the mines. You know, the mines category of it has already applied this particular code. But what is this basically? It gives opportunity to women to work in the night with their consent, to work the night shift. Remember, with their consent. So this is very important. It is already working in the mines. Alright. Next, what do we have to know? The government has amended the Maternity Benefit Act of 96, increasing the paid maternity leave from 12 to 26 weeks. The government has increased the paid maternity leave from earlier 12 weeks to now 26 weeks, so that there is no difference between a working professional and a working professional mother. So this is what the government wants to do. So whenever we think about the paid maternity leave, but this is some kind of destruction of women participation as well. Reason being that women seldom, they are not chosen because they may be paid while they are on a leave. When they are taking care of the baby 24/7, they might not be able to perform their duties in their profession, because taking care of a child is much more hectic than doing one's profession. That is why the government says that paid maternity leave should be there. It is important that mothers give birth properly and they are able to take care of themselves, recover themselves, and thereafter, you know, be produced in the professional work. But here the employers think, why should we pay when they are on a leave? They do not think that it's a maternity leave. The woman's body goes through so many changes. They do not think about that. They do not think about that, how much heft, how much mental issues, how much recovery it has to take place to take care of a child and oneself. It is normalized that you are on a leave. You're not on a maternity leave, but a leave. So why must we pay for the maternity leave? I would rather choose a guy. We will not give them the paternity leave. Because that's not important. Our society doesn't expect our men to be a part of taking care of the child, bringing up a child, right? So there is no paternity leave. What is paternity leave? So this is all that has been done. So One Nation, One Ration card is also there. Information technology driven scheme this is, which is a nationwide portability of ration cards. That means if any labor moves from one place to another in search of labor, in search of work, then they will carry this ration card so that they are getting the benefits from the targeted public distribution system. They must not fall behind the TPDS, because sometimes what happens, employment is not available at one place. It can be available at different places. So the person can move from one place to another place in search of employment, but at the same time, if they want to get the benefit of Anodaya Yojana and other sorts of National Food Security Program, they can do it with the ration card. They can take it to anywhere in India and that will be applicable. Another one is E-Shram portal. This is actually a digital portal for unorganized labor. Who are unorganized? These are laborers that actually work in those sectors that are not registered by the government. And the unorganized laborers actually find a very little social security net. They are not like we are from organized sector. We get PF, we get other sorts of income tax benefits. But when it comes to unorganized social laborers, they do not get that kind of social security. So the government wants to ensure what amount of laborers are actually there in the entire industry, and if it is possible to track them, it is done through the eShram portal. For example, if I am an unorganized laborer, I am working in an industry which is not registered in the government by the government of India or the government of state, then of course I can do my policy making for eShram portal. I can give my details to the eShram portal, and the government will know that I am an unorganized laborer. I do not have a lot of security with myself. They will provide me policies. Okay, let's move on and talk about the G20 Troika. I've already told you. Let's talk about this particular previous year question of RAS Mains 2021. If you want to practice it, you can do it in your homes. Write 4 major issues of G20 Rome Summit 2021, and you have to do it in 15 words. Alright, moving ahead to the practice question. In the year 2024, which of the following countries is presiding over the G20? Tell me in the comment segment the correct answer to this. Be very quick. India, Brazil, South Africa, Indonesia. You have to tell me the correct answer to this. India, Brazil, South Africa, Indonesia. I have already told you which country is presiding over the G20 summit for this particular year. India was the president for the last year, and now you have to tell me the correct answer of the current year. Do it as soon as possible, everybody who is watching. This is a really quick and easy question for you, so do it as soon as possible. I'm waiting for your answers. Come on, let's do it. India was for the last year, and you have to tell me the correct answer for the current year. Let me tell you. The current year's president is Brazil. Guys, you have to be interactive, otherwise it will become a very one-sided class. You have to tell me the correct answer in the comment segment, then only we can move forward. For 2025, it is South Africa. Alright, remember. And India was for the year 2023. Brazil is for the year 2024. And these 3 countries right now are a part of the G20 Troika. Troika, I have already told you what Troika is. Now, let's talk about the next question, next news, which is with respect to Mirabai Chanu. Let's talk about Mirabai Chanu, and she is going to, of course, make us again really, really proud. Mirabai Chanu, let me find out the slide related to that. So, yes, Mirabai Chanu. If I talk about Mirabai Chanu, why is it in the news? She has become the only wrestler to qualify for the Paris Olympics. That is a really great news. Alright, so remember that Manipur's weightlifter Mirabai Chanu in the 49 kg category has qualified for Paris Olympics, and she has become the only wrestler, remember, only wrestler to qualify for Paris Olympics. Excessively well. Now, another thing is that Paris has held Olympics in 1900 and 1924. These were the years where Paris Olympics were happening. And now again in 2024, we can see Paris Olympics happening. The first Olympics, if we have to remember, the first Olympics, anybody wants to participate in this, you can. Happened in 1896 in Athens, Greece. If I talk about Mirabai Chanu, she is from Manipur. Okay, remember, because states are also asked. Do not get confused that she is from somewhere else. She is from Manipur, and she won in the last Olympics, the Rio Olympics. She won a silver medal, which is a really great deal for India. So remember, these kind of facts can be asked in your RAS examination, and this is the third time. This is for the third time that she will be joining the Olympics. Earlier it was, of course, in the Tokyo Olympics. Beg your pardon, I said Rio, mind me. It's Tokyo Olympics where she won the Olympics medal in the silver category. She participated for the first time in Rio Olympics 2016. So she has participated in Rio in 2016, thereafter in Tokyo where she won the silver medal in the weightlifting category, and now she is going to participate in Paris. So these 3 years, these three different arenas she is going to participate Washington. She has also received the Rajiv Gandhi Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna Award in 2018, and this is India's highest sporting honor. She is awarded with even Padma Shri, India's 4th highest civilian award. So remember, Padma Shri is India's 4th highest civilian award of 2018. Now let's talk about Paris Olympics. I have already told you that it has been held in Paris in 1920 and 24, and 4 new sports have been added in the Paris Olympics. First is breaking, because upgradation is important, that is why upgradation is being done. So breaking, sports, climbing, skateboarding and surfing. RAS can ask you which of the categories have been joined for the very first time in the Paris Olympics for 2024. So you must know the 4 categories: breaking, sports climbing, skateboarding and surfing. And right now this particular 2024 Olympics will be of 33rd edition. The first modern Olympic Games were held in Athens, Greece in 1896. Now write the sports, this is a previous year question, write the sports achievement of Manav Thakur. If again a question comes from Mirabai Chanu, you can write these many important events from her life. Moving on, let's talk about this practice question. You have to tell me in the comment segment the correct answer to it. Make sure you do it. Where will this Summer Olympics 2024, this is going to be the Summer Olympics, okay, you have to remember that as well. Summer Olympics 2024 be organized? Berlin, then we have the second one as Paris, Washington DC and Vienna. Come on, answer this correctly in the comment segment. Those of you who are watching, please do answer it correctly. Make sure you answer it correctly. The correct answer to this I have already told you earlier as well, that Paris is going to be the correct answer to this. Alright, so let's end our class over here. I hope you found this class interesting. Tomorrow again, very good incognito. Tomorrow again at 8:30 I will be here. And if anybody wants to also see, very good Prerna, the correct answer is Paris, agreed to that. If you want to ensure that you do not get left behind in UPSC also, on UPSC Utkarsh from 7 to 8 AM, I do my classes in English mode for those students who want to also look at the UPSC segment. Alright, so please do watch that on UPSC Utkarsh from 7 to 8 onwards. Thereafter, if you are specifically preparing for Rajasthan PCS in English medium from 8:30 to 9:30, this is going to be your way. Alright, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Stay updated.